Millennium ago, humanity was nearly wiped out when creatures from the abyss invaded our world. But then mysterious monuments appeared, granting survivors the power to fight back through specific professions. And after generations of brutal warfare, the tide finally turned as humanity began reclaiming its lost territory, leading to the establishment of massive training centers where high schoolers undergo annual ceremonies to unlock their potential, although the threat remains. Lurking in the shadows and waiting for the next generation to step up, at the Linchin City branch, the 53rd annual job transfer ceremony is officially underway for the local students, where a school official stands before the monument, reminding everyone that their future professional path is decided right here. And he stresses that whether they become elite warriors or support staff, the entire nation is counting on their contribution, while nearby students chatter about their high expectations. Desperately hoping to awaken combat-type classes that promise quick wealth and status, but some are more realistic about the harsh odds, noting that the success rate for landing a combat profession is barely 50%, as a group of students mocks Lin Tianhao for his reputation as a chronic slacker, claiming even the worst jobs are too good for him, while Lin Tianhao stands apart from the taunts, privately reflecting on his own strange journey since crossing over into this dangerous world. Then a classmate needles him about his goals, asking if he's actually aiming for a hidden class or something equally impossible, and when Lin Tianhao mentions his ambition, the surrounding students burst into laughter, reminding him that his last assessment was barely a C grade. Because the system readout displays his lackluster potential, confirming his stats are mediocre across the board with no real hope for greatness. Yet Lin Tianhao refuses to accept his fate, silently questioning who decided a commoner could not rise up to become a phoenix, because he's already been through one life-altering transition, so he's determined to see what this world has in store for him, as the official finally calls for the second class to begin their transfers. Signaling that the time for talk is over, when a muscular student named Wang Dong steps forward to claim his profession, clearly confident in his own physical superiority, and he turns back to mock the others, telling them to watch closely as he shows them what a real man looks like. The official warns Wang Dong that the transfer process takes 5 seconds, so he should just hold on, and electricity starts surging from the monument as the system forces the energy into his body. Until the light flares bright and the process confirms a successful transfer, revealing he's awakened as a warrior, which sends the crowd into an immediate frenzy of excitement, despite the system grading him with a mediocre C-rank talent. Yet the official still congratulates him, handing over his registration card and telling him to report to the guild center, while the girls in the crowd swoon over Wang Dong, already begging him to take them into dungeons once he starts. And he just brushes off the attention, basking in his new status as a guaranteed breadwinner, until he spots Lin Tianhao in the crowd and immediately starts mocking him for being the class trash, because Wang Dong demands an apology for bumping into him, even though he just wants an excuse to pick a fight, and Lin Tianhao just stares back, wondering how someone as arrogant as that could possibly be a warrior. While the rest of the sycophants flock to Wang Dong, laughing at Lin Tianhao and calling him a total loser, but then the official cuts the tension by calling for the next student to step up, and Lin Tianhao finally walks toward the monument, ignoring the jeers from the people behind him as he steps onto the platform, feeling the weight of their expectations bearing down on his shoulders. While he silently prays for any combat-type profession, even a low-tier mage would be enough to survive. Because he knows his future depends on this single moment, so he closes his eyes and reaches out, and his palm makes contact with the cold surface of the monument, until the energy begins to hum beneath his fingertips, pulsing with a rhythm he has not felt before, and suddenly a massive shockwave of golden light erupts, threatening to tear the entire monument apart. Lin Tianhao wonders if this golden light is finally the turn in his luck he has been waiting for, and the proctor stares in disbelief as the energy spikes, wondering if he really pulled that rare job, but the shockwave clears, leaving everyone watching in a daze as the dust settles around the platform, and the teacher sighs, preparing to deliver the news while Lin Tianhao braces for the final verdict, because the system announces his profession as a summoner, and Lin Tianhao can hardly believe his ears. While the crowd immediately erupts in mockery, calling it a trash-tier role that is completely useless for combat, until a mysterious notification suddenly flashes in his vision, signaling that a host awakening is being detected, and the system confirms his binding identity as an abyssal lord, granting him an SSS-level talent because Lin Tianhao realizes he has actually awakened a system, and his mind races with the implications. Since gaining one SSS-level talent every 10 levels means he could be unstoppable by the time he reaches level 100, then he looks down at the card in his hand, feeling the power of his first skill, and the proctor hands him the official paperwork, assuming he is just another failed student because the skill is demonic sacrifice, a technique that lets him trade his own maximum health for raw power, but the cost is permanent. Meaning he has to be incredibly careful with how he uses this ability, and Lin Tianhao realizes that as long as his summons are strong enough, he can avoid the front lines, since every 100 points of health he sacrifices boosts his summons by 1 full level, so he calculates his current base health and realizes he can jump his summons straight to level 9. And he keeps his composure while the teacher tries to comfort him, unaware of the power he just gained. Because Lin Tianhao politely thanks her for the encouragement, keeping his new system completely hidden from the crowd, while the students nearby continue to whisper and laugh, convinced his future is already over before it begins. Despite the rumors calling summoners trash, Lin Tianhao knows exactly what his power is worth, and he walks out of the school with his head held high, fully intending to reach the peak back at home. He tells his sister that he awakened as a summoner, which causes her to worry since that class is notorious for being dead weight, but he just shrugs it off, keeping the true nature of his system a total secret, even when she tries to comfort him by promising to become a mage and protect him next year. And he gently brushes off her concern, knowing she has no idea what he is capable of, telling her that he is far stronger than she realizes, so he walks away while she teases him for acting like she is still a child. Then a notification pings on his phone about a mandatory school assembly, and Lin Tianhao decides to head over, curious about what the school has planned, where the teacher confirms the class stats, highlighting that only one person pulled a summoner class, which draws immediate mockery from the other students, who love to kick a guy while he is down, but the teacher seems unusually sympathetic, handing Lin Tianhao an introductory book for his new role, and he takes the manual, listening as the teacher offers to help if things get too tough, so he plays along with the pity, smiling to keep his real strength under wraps. Then the teacher turns to address the rest of the class, warning them not to slack off during the upcoming tests, and the students start filing out toward the arena grounds, where the instructor announces the start of the class talent evaluation, so a confident student steps forward, eager to show off his abilities before anyone else. The instructor praises a student for hitting 73 points, but it is clear that is not exactly top tier. Then another student unleashes a fire-based attack against the target practice machine, and the score climbs to 89, proving he is currently leading the pack, so it is finally time for Lin Tianhao to step up to the plate. He opens the manual the teacher provided to try out some basic summoning techniques, mumbling that he will just have to do his best with what he has. While he starts chanting the incantation written on the weathered pages, a massive cloud of dust suddenly erupts from the ground around him, which leaves the instructor and the nearby students wondering what he is attempting to summon, and everyone watches as the dust settles to reveal something unexpected. A tiny, translucent slime bounces into the arena with a cheerful expression. Lin Tianhao stares at his new companion with a completely blank expression. The crowd erupts in laughter, calling the summon useless and incapable of even cleaning the floor. While Lin Tianhao tries to process the fact that this is his actual summon, a system window confirms the stats, showing the elementary slime has a measly attack power of 9, and he can only look at the creature in frustration as it drifts aimlessly. The instructor calls everyone's attention back to the massive digital scoreboard, where a triple-digit display finally settles on a pathetic total of 9 points, causing the classmates to double over with laughter at such an embarrassing result. But Lin Tianhao ignores the noise and asks the teacher if he can try again. Lin Tianhao decides to put his SSS-level talent to the test, and he commits 200 points to activate the demon's sacrifice, ignoring the hecklers in the crowd who think his effort is completely futile. The system interface drops his health pool as the sacrifice kicks in, while the tiny slime begins to undergo a violent, dark transformation. Onlookers start to realize something is wrong as the aura shifts. The slime's form twists and hardens into a much more aggressive entity. Lin Tianhao watches closely, wondering if this is the demonized version he hoped for. A new system window confirms the evolution into a demonized slime with spiked stats. He calmly gives the command to attack the target. The creature lunges forward with a surge of red energy, impacting the machine with enough force to send a shockwave across the arena. As the slime pours all its new power into a single, concentrated strike, the digital display on the machine begins to climb rapidly, rising past the previous low numbers and lighting up the entire hall. The crowd goes silent before erupting in confusion as the score keeps ticking up. It finally locks in at 120, stunning everyone who just mocked him. Wang Dong stares at the result, unable to believe Lin Tianhao actually surpassed his own score. Whispers of cheating spread through the student body as they scramble to explain the jump, and they start demanding an investigation, convinced the results must be rigged. Lin Tianhao wonders if his slime's innate skill actually pushed the machine too far, while the surrounding students start buying into the theory that he must have cheated, so he turns to the instructor to defend his integrity and clear his name. Yet the testing machine behind him begins to glitch and spark with intense static, flickering uncontrollably as the internal components finally give out under the pressure. The teacher watches the hardware fail and realizes the situation is becoming a disaster, and he publicly declares the device was broken to invalidate the suspicious results, which gives Wang Dong the excuse he needs to gloat about the rigged test. Students start shouting that a previous score of 9 was legitimate and should stand, so the instructor orders Lin Tianhao to retake the test once the repairs are finished. Protests erupt from the crowd who insist the test was fair and he should be disqualified. The teacher shuts down the entire testing session to prevent further chaos on campus. Wang Dong can barely contain his rage as the outcome slips through his fingers. While he continues to cast glares at Lin Tianhao, refusing to let the grudge go, other students mock the idea that a weak summoner could ever become a top-tier warrior. Wang Dong leads his group away, confident that Lin Tianhao will never amount to anything. Lin Tianhao ignores the insults, deciding that the level 1 Black Abyss dungeon is perfect. He turns his back on the arena and starts walking toward the dungeon entrance. Investigators examine the ruined machine, stunned by the sheer power required to break it. and they begin to wonder if a hidden genius has finally revealed themselves on campus. An elderly man suddenly approaches Lin Tianhao, claiming the kid has real potential as a summoner. Though Lin Tianhao finds that line suspicious, especially coming from a total stranger on the street, the elder pulls out a staff and offers it to Lin Tianhao for 300 gold, which seems like a massive ripoff. So Lin Tianhao immediately calls him out for trying to rob him, but the old man insists it is a rare item that he would not sell to just anyone. When Lin Tianhao examines the weapon, he senses an intense power radiating from the staff itself. Realizing it is a rare summoner guild item, he decides to commit to the purchase. The elder confirms the price is 300 gold, but Lin Tianhao realizes he only has 92 gold to his name. So he nervously tries to haggle for a discount with the little cash he has. The elder accepts the 92 gold as a deposit instead, promising to hold the staff while Lin Tianhao heads into the Black Abyss to retrieve a treasure, and Lin Tianhao panics, wondering if he just accidentally triggered a hidden quest, as the old man shoves a contract into his hand, forcing Lin Tianhao to leave his thumbprint on the document, which formalizes their shady agreement. And the elder dismisses his complaints, telling him to stop whining and get to work, leaving Lin Tianhao standing there in disbelief while a dark cloud literally forms over his head. Another instructor appears to ask the elder about that student Lin Tianhao, and the elder watches him walk away, knowing that the path ahead for a summoner is going to be brutal. Lin Tianhao finally stands before the imposing entrance to the Cold Valley Abyss, staring up at the massive monolith as the portal swirls with raw energy, where he learns the dungeon has a strict 3-person minimum requirement, and he quickly pulls up the leaderboard to scope out the competition, seeing that the top spot is currently held by someone named Fang Changyun, with a golden chest plate as the grand prize for the fastest clear. Pushing Lin Tianhao to decide that he absolutely needs those bonus health stats, but a passing group spots him and immediately starts mocking his presence there, and Lin Tianhao realizes it is the same trio of bullies from before, laughing at the idea of a lowly summoner trying to clear a dungeon. Yet he ignores their insults, keeping his eyes locked on the goal while the trio continues to boast about their own grades and talents. So Lin Tianhao ignores them and starts scouting for a real party, shouting out for a C-rank warrior to join him for the run, which immediately draws the attention of mages desperate for a strong front lane, and he starts picking recruits to fill out his team, leaving the bullies in the dust as his new party praises his rank, while the rest of the group worries about actually hitting that leaderboard, and the party finally steps into the swirling void of the abyss, where the bleached bones of past failures warn them of the danger ahead. Lin Tianhao leads the party deeper into the dark ruins, while he warns the group to stay close to avoid the fate of those skeletons, and the team pushes forward under his command despite the mounting pressure, as Lin Tianhao senses the volatile energy of the abyss surrounding them, but he notes that some of the weaker members are destined for a quick end, since resurrection is a luxury that costs far more than a simple death, so he keeps his S-rank goal in focus to ensure a perfect run. And the crowd around him argues over whether a summoner can actually carry them, while Lin Tianhao scans the area for a more compatible partner, as he spots a lone bard waiting near the entrance, noting her E-rank status while the system displays her low-level qualifications, because her worn-out expression suggests she has been left behind by every other group, so Lin Tianhao steps up to offer her a spot in his team. And the girl looks at him in complete disbelief that an S-rank would notice her, while he extends his hand to invite her into his attempt at the leaderboard, as she hesitates for a second before reaching out to accept the offer, and she quickly agrees to join him before he changes his mind, since the system confirms their party formation, making Li Zhu his official teammate, so Lin Tianhao promises to handle the heavy lifting while she stays out of harm's way, and Li Zhu is clearly smitten. Already daydreaming about her new partner's protective nature, Lin Tianhao still needs one more member to finalize his dungeon party, but a crowd of desperate rankers swarms the area trying to recruit a high-level druidess, since the campus belle Su Qing is clearly annoyed by the pathetic guys begging for her attention, and Lin Tianhao realizes the girl causing the massive scene is actually the top-tier beauty everyone talks about, but then Su Qing spots Lin Tianhao and recognizes him as the infamous bottom-tier summoner. As the rest of the crowd wonders why she would even acknowledge such a low-ranked student, and Su Qing abruptly ignores her other suitors to command Lin Tianhao to let her into his party, which sends the surrounding rankers into a state of absolute screaming rage, while Lin Tianhao just stands there completely confused, wondering why she picked him out of everyone, but Su Qing makes it crystal clear that he is the one she wants to join, causing the rejected guys to lose their minds over her choosing a summoner, yet she ruthlessly tells the crowd to get lost now that she has made her choice, so she immediately starts moving toward the dungeon portal with her new teammates, and Lin Tianhao finally stops her to ask why she would ever want to join his group, since she admits she is gunning for the top leaderboard spot and needs actual carry-ons to make it happen, while Li Zhu stares in disbelief at being labeled a carry-on by the new arrival. As Su Qing dismissively yells at the stragglers to stop wasting time and start moving, so Lin Tianhao sighs, realizing he just signed up to babysit a very demanding princess, and he decides there is no point in looking for anyone else, so they head into the abyss. While the party of 3 steps into the swirling void to begin their climb, the trio steps into the freezing atmosphere of the abyss, shivering instantly from the extreme temperatures. And Lin Tianhao realizes his store-bought gear is completely failing to keep the cold at bay, which is when Li Zhu steps up, reminding the guys that she can handle it with a buff, so she begins strumming her instrument, weaving a protective aura around her teammates, and Su Qing begrudgingly admits that Li Zhu has at least some utility after all, before immediately demanding they pick up the pace to maximize their leaderboard climb. But their advance is cut short by a pair of glowing red eyes watching from the snow, revealing a corrupted wandering wolf that is clearly hunting for its next victim. And Su Qing identifies the threat, treating the monster like a training dummy for her own benefit. So she channels her power, letting the energy surge through her hands as she prepares to strike, while the raw magical force begins to coat her body in a shimmering blue glow, revealing her secret ability to partially transform into a beast. Which leaves Lin Tianhao genuinely caught off guard. Then she launches herself forward with incredible speed, closing the gap in a single blink, and Su Qing delivers a brutal claw strike directly into the wolf's hide, inflicting massive damage that leaves the monster reeling while she lands gracefully back on the ground. So Lin Tianhao notes the lingering bleeding effect caused by her sharp claws while she tosses the monster's loot at her teammates, refusing to owe anyone for the earlier support. And Li Zhu stammers in surprise at the druidess's surprisingly generous attitude, but Su Qing ignores the praise, coldly ordering them to keep moving deeper into the frozen wasteland as they continue their trek through the valley, surrounded by even more hungry wolves. Su Qing picks up her pace, sensing that the wolf pack is far more numerous than they initially expected, and she cuts through the corrupted beasts with lethal precision, leaving them no chance to recover, but the effort takes its toll as she admits that handling 3 elites at once is pushing her limits. So Li Zhu offers a healing spell to patch her up, though the druidess flatly rejects the help, opting instead to down a mana potion to conserve her own energy for the coming fight. And she quickly recovers her breath, signaling that they need to keep moving before more shadows emerge. Lin Tianhao watches the interaction closely, realizing that their frontline fighter is starting to hit her breaking point. Yet they press onward across the frozen wasteland, remaining on high alert for any further ambushes. Suddenly Su Qing stops dead, her ears twitching as she detects a massive disturbance in the ground, and a glowing purple magic circle erupts beneath her feet. Forcing her to jump back just in time, the ground begins to warp and tremble, signaling that something far stronger than a wolf is breaking through. A massive shockwave slams into the area, kicking up a blinding cloud of snow and debris, and as the dust settles, a towering figure emerges from the crater to block their path forward. The system identifies the intruder as a corrupted wandering zombie, an elite rank threat with lethal defensive stats. Su Qing notes the sheer size of the monster and realizes they are in for a brutal struggle. Lin Tianhao guesses that her recent slaughter of the wolves must have triggered this elite guardian to spawn. Before he can finish his thought, the monster lunges forward with terrifying, unexpected speed. Lin Tianhao struggles to track the movement as the massive brute closes the distance in a single motion. And the zombie swings its heavy club, unleashing a wave of energy that obliterates the frozen ground. Su Qing barely manages to deflect the crushing blow, but the impact sends her skidding back, her defenses shattered. Lin Tianhao realizes Su Qing is in deep trouble, frantically asking Li Zhu how they can assist her. The elite zombie looms over the downed druidess with its massive weapon raised for a finishing blow. Lin Tianhao decides to shift the momentum by immediately summoning his demon slime to the battlefield. Air pressure surges around him as the creature materializes into the snowy environment. The system window confirms the slime's stats, showing it's ready to unleash its corrosive abilities. Lin Tianhao commands his summon to execute the dance of the demon's skill against the threat. Red energy whips through the air in a blinding display of speed. Catching the monster off guard, the zombie attempts to retaliate with a crushing swing. But the slime maneuvers with unnatural agility. Heavy impacts rattle the frozen landscape as the monster's weapon strikes the ground again. The elite zombie halts its advance, clearly surprised that its previous attack failed to connect. Lin Tianhao taunts the creature, pointing out how useless its brute force has been so far. Li Zhu takes the opening to rush towards Su Qing, getting her out of the immediate danger zone. Lin Tianhao orders Li Zhu to prioritize healing the druidess while he holds the line solo, howling in frustration. The monster prepares another overhead strike to pulverize the lone human. Lin Tianhao calls for a follow-up, ordering the slime to use its potent slime spit. He dashes forward to draw the zombie's attention away from the support team. The monster leaps into the air to close the distance, ignoring the smaller threat. Molten blobs of corrosive liquid launch from the slime, raining down on the charging foe. Lin Tianhao channels his remaining energy to amplify the slime's offensive output. The acidic spray tears through the zombie's flesh, forcing the giant back as its defenses begin to dissolve. Lin Tianhao commands the demon slime to execute its signature demonic dance. Realizing that direct attacks are barely scratching the elite monster's thick hide, he shifts his strategy to target the creature's vulnerable ankles instead. The slime darts forward with lightning speed, catching the zombie off guard. Razor-sharp claws slice deep into the monster's heel, drawing a spray of dark blood. The massive guardian stumbles as its balance is compromised, crashing down onto the frozen ground. Li Zhu continues her steady chant, pouring magical energy into healing the wounded Su Qing. The druidess shows signs of recovery as the restorative light knits her injuries together. Lin Tianhao watches the downed giant, noting that the lower body lacks the same protection. He directs the slime to relentless assault the exposed legs, tearing through muscle and bone. A system notification confirms the elite zombie has been defeated, granting a massive experience boost. Lin Tianhao watches his status update as he gains a full level from the kill. Li Zhu marvels at his combat prowess. Realizing he is far stronger than a typical summoner, he rushes over to check on Su Qing, prioritizing her well-being above the spoils. The druidess insists her injuries are minor and waves off his concern. Li Zhu warns the group that they cannot afford to stop or rest just yet. Despite their exhaustion, the bard pushes them to maintain their momentum for the rankings. Su Qing struggles to stand, declaring that she is still capable of fighting. Lin Tianhao reaches out to support her, his expression tight with lingering anxiety. He cautions them to be careful as they prepare to push deeper into the zone. Lin Tianhao argues for a pit stop, pointing out the map shows a nearby cave. They find the shelter just as the sun sets, providing a rare moment of safety, volunteering for the first watch. Lin Tianhao leaves the girls to recover by the fire. Su Qing is completely spent from mana exhaustion, drifting off the second her head hits the bed. Li Zhu suggests Lin Tianhao take a look around outside, then pivots to awkwardly thanking him for his help. Her sudden bout of vulnerability catches Lin Tianhao off guard, making him wonder what she is after. She quickly shuts down the conversation to hide her embarrassment, leaving him to walk off alone, pacing around the cave entrance. Lin Tianhao chuckles at the bard's unpredictable personality, safely tucked into her sleeping bag. Li Zhu watches him go with a lingering gaze, checking his current progress. Lin Tianhao revels in reaching level 3 after that last fight. The system menu confirms his growth, showing significant boosts to his base stats and spirit capacity. He notes the fully armored skill is a game changer, functioning as a powerful group amplification buff. Scanning his updated numbers, Lin Tianhao realizes his HP pool is rising. He decides to pour his remaining resources into the slime, initiating a stat conversion. Watching his own health pool drop, he funnels the power directly into his summon. The system confirms the transfer, resulting in a massive boost to the slime's overall power. Curious about his new ability, he checks the details for the split skill. Testing the limits, Lin Tianhao commands the slime to demonstrate its new combat potential. The creature hits the ground with a heavy thud, signaling its readiness. He watches as the slime executes the split, perfectly duplicating its form for the upcoming battles. Lin Tianhao points toward the target, ordering the slime to activate its new split ability. A surge of red energy envelops the creature as it shifts into its combat form. Tracking the transformation closely, Lin Tianhao watches his summon prepare for the upcoming engagement. The system interface displays the slime reaching level 7, boasting increased attack and agility stats. Reviewing the skill's cost, he notes that his own HP is halved while the slime gains raw power. A timer manifests above the creature, indicating the split form will persist for only 3 minutes. Realizing the duration is incredibly short, Lin Tianhao questions if that timeframe is enough to change anything. Suddenly, a sharp cry echoes through the cave, cutting through the silence. Turning toward the sound, Lin Tianhao immediately senses that something has gone horribly wrong. He realizes Li Zhu and Su Qing are under attack, forcing him to rush toward the cave entrance, sprinting out into the open. He spots the source of the commotion lurking near his allies. A massive, shadow-drenched monster looms over Li Zhu and Su Qing, trapping them in a corner. Desperate to save them, Lin Tianhao barks a command for the slime to unleash its projectile attack. A concentrated blast of red energy streaks across the battlefield, slamming directly into the creature's chest. The system reports a minor damage tick, and Lin Tianhao stares in disbelief at the pathetic output, refusing to yield. The slime lashes out with a flurry of rapid-fire strikes. The monster deflects the barrage with ease, forcing the summon to retreat. Frustration boils over as the enemy barely flinches, leaving Lin Tianhao scrambling for a new plan. The shadow beast lunges forward, closing the distance between itself and the summon in an instant. Impact shakes the ground as the monster strikes, leaving the slime struggling to maintain its form. The monster swings its massive claws, tearing through the slime's gelatinous body despite the relentless barrage of projectiles. The shadow beast barely takes double-digit damage. Realizing the current strategy is failing, Lin Tianhao orders the slime to fall back and regroup. The monster follows up with a savage blow that splatters the slime across the frozen ground. Observing the creature's inhuman agility, Lin Tianhao notes that this rabbit is far too fast to hit. Li Zhu and Su Qing struggle to process the speed, as the bard identifies their attacker as a rare apex predator. Confusion sets in since they are well outside the creature's usual hunting grounds. Su Qing worries that their lack of effective damage means they are sitting ducks. Panic hits Lin Tianhao as he realizes his primary movement skill has failed. The system confirms the demon dance cooldown, leaving them completely vulnerable. Calling out for the slime to retreat, Lin Tianhao tries to salvage the situation. The monster unleashes a massive wave of energy, crushing the slime underfoot. Seeing her chance to intervene, Li Zhu refuses to wait for Lin Tianhao's signal, shouting for the bard to stop. Lin Tianhao watches helplessly as she charges. Li Zhu hurls a projectile toward the beast, hoping to draw its attention away. The monster smashes the ground, sending shockwaves that rattle the entire cave, locking its glowing eyes onto the bard. The giant rabbit prepares to retaliate. Realization of her mistake dawns on Li Zhu as the creature turns its gaze toward her. The beast lunges with terrifying speed, forcing Li Zhu to scramble backward. Before she can find safety, the monster closes the gap and corners her against the wall. Li Zhu desperately tosses her food supply at the monster to keep it back. The beast catches the carrot midair with a hungry, glowing-eyed snap, and to everyone's utter bewilderment, the lethal predator starts happily munching away. Lin Tianhao demands an explanation for her bizarre inventory. While Li Zhu panics over her snack choice, their moment of confusion ends instantly as the monster finishes its meal and resets its target. The giant rabbit charges again. Forcing Li Zhu to scramble away from a barrage of projectiles, Lin Tianhao realizes the carrots are actually the key to distracting and killing the beast. Shouting for Li Zhu to hand over her entire bag to Su Qing, he initiates a new plan. Su Qing looks shocked to be the designated bait, but she obeys and grabs the bag. Clutching the supplies, Su Qing prepares to make her move while the monster tracks her. The creature lunges directly toward Su Qing, ignoring Lin Tianhao in its rush for more food. Su Qing realizes Lin Tianhao intends to use her as a lure and demands an immediate answer. She leaps through the air to stay ahead, barely dodging the monster's massive clawed swipe. Lin Tianhao keeps his eyes locked on the target, waiting for the perfect opening to strike. Confirming their intent is to take the beast down, he prepares to unleash his full power. The monster lets out a deafening roar, signaling its frustration with the agile druidess, moving with incredible speed. Su Qing dances just out of reach while leading the rabbit. She screams for Lin Tianhao to hurry up. Feeling the pressure of the chase mounting, gesturing toward a specific trap point, he commands Su Qing to lead the creature right there. Finally catching onto his strategy, Su Qing commits to the dangerous path to secure their win. Su Qing nails the maneuver, narrowly avoiding the monster as she slides across the frozen ground. The giant snow rabbit closes the distance, teeth bared and ready to tear into her. Lin Tianhao tracks the pursuit, biding his time as the beast commits to the chase. Su Qing locks eyes with the predator, holding her ground for just one more heartbeat. The creature launches a massive, desperate strike intended to crush the druidess in one blow. Impact resonates through the cavern. But the monster realizes too late it hit nothing but air. Lin Tianhao shouts the command, signaling the slime that the moment to strike has finally arrived. A projectile of concentrated energy shoots out, slamming directly into the giant snow rabbit's hide, mocking the beast's lack of foresight. The MC revels in the success of his split-spit trap. The monster stumbles, its momentum shattered by the unexpected hit from the tiny attacker. Silence descends on the cavern. The predator frozen in disbelief at what just happened. The slime gloats over its victory, glowing with the satisfaction of a perfect execution. System notifications confirm the kill, granting Lin Tianhao the experience needed to finally level up. He reflects on the struggle, noting how much work the level 6 slime had to put in. Analyzing the combat, the MC observes that the slime usually struggles against singular, tough targets. The group reconvenes. With Su Qing venting her frustration about being used as bait, Lin Tianhao brushes off her complaints, pointing out that she was the only one fast enough. Su Qing and Li Zhu bicker about the carrots, finally pinning the blame on the original supply plan. Orders restored as they stash the remaining food. Though the threat still looms in the back of their minds, surveying the fallen monster, Lin Tianhao realizes that luring more of these would be a goldmine for experience. Lin Tianhao sets the goal of reaching the level 10 boss, requiring the entire team to hit level 4 first. Li Zhu and Su Qing worry about their low levels, doubting they can survive hunting more of those beasts. The MC reassures them that the roles have flipped and they are now the ones doing the hunting. Li Zhu catches his ambition to climb the leaderboard, agreeing that they should stop playing it safe. A single carrot sits abandoned in the snow, serving as the perfect bait for their next target. The rabbit spots the lure, oblivious to the fact that it is walking straight into a trap. Lin Tianhao signals the team to hold their positions as the prey approaches. The group launches a coordinated ambush, pinning the rabbit down before it can even react. Hours of grinding pay off as the entire party levels up, leaving a trail of fallen monsters behind them. System logs confirm they have been clearing the dungeon for 5 hours. Li Zhu notes they are already level 4. Putting them on track to potentially beat the record set by the top rankers. Su Qing questions if a record-breaking run is truly possible, but Lin Tianhao warns her that the dungeon will not go down without a fight. He briefs the team on the boss, explaining that it relies on attrition and summons. Exhaustion hits the druidess as she realizes the sheer scale of the challenge still ahead. The MC orders a 30-minute break so everyone can recover their strength for the final push. Li Zhu pauses to check her status, noticing the shift in her blood sacrifice skill stats. Lin Tianhao monitors his own HP gains, concerned about how his build will hold up once they leave this place. The slime shows modest stat growth after the grind, though no new abilities have manifested yet. He braces for the upcoming boss encounter, hoping the difficulty does not scale too far beyond their current capabilities. A sudden, massive impact shakes the cave, signaling that something has finally arrived to challenge them. The entire party scrambles to find the source of that earth-shattering tremor, and they march toward the center of the cavern to investigate. Where a blinding, prismatic light erupts from the darkness, Lin Tianhao stares in silence at the source of the radiance. The system identifies a hidden level 10 boss, a beast that only awakens when the dungeon's balance is threatened. Lin Tianhao realizes this is no ordinary encounter. Triggering a hidden boss is a rare stroke of luck. But he notes the entity is far stronger than the expected leader. The creature emerges from the light with a sharp, glowing horn, and its sheer presence radiates a powerful, overwhelming aura. The MC finds his vision spinning as the beast's influence takes hold. Despite the danger, he cannot help but marvel at the creature's ethereal form. The slime stays glued to his side, matching his caution with its own agitation. A sudden, sharp pain jolts Lin Tianhao back to reality. He demands to know why the slime just bit him, and the party watches as the creature lets out a piercing cry. Li Zhu and Su Qing are completely entranced by the beast. Their eyes swirling under its spell, Lin Tianhao lunges forward to tackle the girls out of harm's way. They narrowly avoid the initial blast as the ground beneath them shatters. The druidess and the bard finally snap out of their trance, questioning why a unicorn is guarding a frost dungeon. And the MC realizes their excessive grinding must have triggered this guardian's defensive protocol. Su Qing wonders if their previous run-ins with rotwolves and wights were just a warm-up. And Li Zhu confirms that while they were supposed to just follow the standard guide, the sudden appearance of this boss suggests its stats are way beyond any regular dungeon encounter, which sends the druidess into a spiral of panic over their chances of survival. Lin Tianhao reminds her that their kill count has already marked them for this fight, but she continues to blame herself for the party's current predicament, and the tension in the air becomes almost suffocating as she breaks down. Yet Lin Tianhao stops her, pointing out how far they have come in record time. He takes personal responsibility for clearing the rest of the boss encounter. Vowing that he will not let a single member of his party get hurt today, Li Zhu challenges his resolve with a cold smirk. Questioning if he is actually scared of a unicorn, she and Su Qing find some comfort in his promise. Readying their gear for the clash, the beast lets out a deafening roar that shakes the very foundations of the cavern, and it locks onto the party, closing the distance in a flash of blue energy. The system alerts them to an incoming horn thrust as the monster strikes. Debris flies everywhere as the attack carves deep gouges into the frozen walls. A dark silhouette takes flight against the glow, signaling a shift in the creature's aggression. Lin Tianhao screams for everyone to scatter before they get caught in the follow-up. The air crackles with lethal power as a shockwave ripples outward from the impact zone, and the team scrambles for cover as the dust settles on the opening gambit. The boss unleashes a radiant pulse that ripples through the cavern. And the system identifies this as soul-cleansing melody, a high-tier status effect. Lin Tianhao cries out for Li Zhu as the mental assault hits the party. She immediately counters with a combination of Sage's Ballad and War God's March. Her music weaves a protective barrier that clashes against the boss's song. The unicorn lets out a piercing shriek in response to the resistance. And it abruptly switches tactics by lunging directly at Su Qing with a hoof stomp. She freezes in the path of the incoming strike, but just as the blow descends, a mysterious white-haired fighter intervenes. The newcomer parries the massive hooves with a swift, calculated movement, and she lands a solid counter-hit that sends the beast reeling backward. She taunts the creature with a smirk, drawing its full attention toward her. The unicorn whinnies in pure frustration at being interrupted by this sudden challenger. She keeps the pressure on, darting around the arena to keep the monster off balance. Its horn slashes through the empty air as she gracefully dodges the follow-up. She brushes off the encounter with a dismissive comment about the boss's lack of skill. Lin Tianhao watches in alarm, screaming for Su Qing to move away from the danger. The beast recovers and launches a desperate, high-velocity charge. She barely registers the rapid closing of distance before it is too late, and the unicorn pins her down, leaving Su Qing scrambling to escape the lethal horn. Lin Tianhao rushes to Su Qing, shaking her to snap her out of the shock. He calls out for his companion, and the slime instantly manifests, ready to turn the tide. The team focuses their intent on the boss. The system confirms the slime has leveled up and unlocked new combat skills. The unicorn prepares to strike, unaware of the shift in the battlefield dynamics. The slime leaps into action, launching itself directly at the creature's massive frame midair. The slime expands and prepares to unleash its signature corrosive assault. It latches onto the unicorn, spraying acidic fluid deep into the beast's hide. Li Zhu watches in total amazement as the unexpected counterattack lands perfectly. Lin Tianhao realizes the unicorn is weak to dark element attacks, giving them a massive advantage. He commands the slime to maintain the offensive, keeping the pressure locked on. The boss shrieks in agony as the corrosive slime eats away at its defenses. Struggling under the relentless assault, the unicorn attempts to retreat from the fray. Seeing the beast try to flee, Li Zhu realizes they have the upper hand. Lin Tianhao refuses to let the monster escape after everything it put them through. He orders the slime to execute its special dance technique to finish the job. The slime begins to dissolve and reform, melting its body into a deadly liquid form, surging forward with increased intensity. It envelops the target in a wave of destruction. The unicorn tries to thrash away, but the fluid clings to every inch of its wings. Trapped and severely weakened by the dark element, the boss can no longer fight back. A direct hit lands, tearing into the beast as it lets out a final, desperate cry. Lin Tianhao cheers on his pet, watching the dark energy continue its work. The impact kicks up a massive cloud of dust, obscuring the battlefield for a moment. Debris scatters everywhere while the creature prepares a counterattack. Glowing arcane energy begins to pulse around the unicorn, signaling a dangerous shift. Sensing the surge, Lin Tianhao yells for Li Zhu to protect her hearing immediately. A sonic shockwave ripples outward, vibrating the very air around them with lethal force. Knowing they need to break the unicorn's focus, Lin Tianhao shouts for the slime to split. The pet forces its body to divide, attempting to bypass the beast's magical defense. Multiple tentacles of dark matter weave through the armor, seeking a weak point. The monster stumbles as the slime latches onto its flank. Dragging it down, ground quakes violently beneath them as the unicorn triggers a powerful stomp. Time is running out, and Lin Tianhao realizes they must finish this now. He calls for the final corrosive strike, hoping to bypass the creature's remaining health. A sinister red-hued aura erupts from the slime, intensifying its dark elemental properties. Repeated impacts hit the unicorn, wearing down its stamina and structural integrity. The beast's eyes roll back as it succumbs to the relentless acidic assault. A system alert warns that the unicorn has entered a berserker state due to fatal injury. Panicking at the sudden change in behavior, Lin Tianhao orders the slime to retreat. The pet launches itself away just in time to avoid a frantic wild lash out. The massive beast suddenly goes quiet, its glowing eyes dimming for a brief moment. Lin Tianhao watches closely, unable to shake the feeling that something is very wrong. Standing frozen as the creature's violent thrashing comes to an abrupt and eerie halt, a cold sweat breaks out on his forehead when he notices the beast's strange behavior. Glowing green crystals begin to sprout from the pool of blood surrounding the monster's hooves. Li Zhu rushes past him, demanding to know why he's hesitating to strike the final blow, despite his desperate warning to stay back. She dives headfirst into the danger zone, ignoring his shout. Li Zhu launches a powerful kick right at the creature's exposed neck. She successfully snatches a glowing orb from the beast and lands with a triumphant grin. The unicorn lets out a low, mournful sound, its head dropping into the glowing pool, stepping back from the carcass. Li Zhu suddenly freezes as she realizes the truth. Her expression turns to pure horror when she hears the beast let out a sharp cry. An intense pillar of blinding light erupts from the body, tearing through the cavern's ceiling. Realizing the sonic blast is about to shatter everything, Lin Tianhao screams for them to cover their ears. Shockwaves rip through the air, sending massive boulders crashing down toward their heads. Debris rains down everywhere, but Lin Tianhao keeps his eyes locked on the shifting energy, sensing the birth of a new threat. He commands the slime to initiate an immediate consumption. A massive surge of dark energy envelops the area as the pet begins its work. The pet grows rapidly, its form shifting into a predatory shape to dominate the incoming wave. As the energy dissolves into the pet's mass, the true test of their survival begins. Lin Tianhao watches the slime finish its absorption, finally calling the task complete. But the cavern ceiling starts to give way, sending massive stone slabs plummeting toward them. Yelling for Li Zhu to get closer, he tries to shield her from the falling debris. Another chunk of rock narrowly misses her, forcing them both to scramble for safety. A mysterious white-haired figure suddenly lunges out from the chaos with lethal intent. Her blade cuts through the remaining structure, slashing toward them with blinding speed. The impact of her strike triggers further tremors, causing more of the cave to collapse. The slime quickly expands to form a protective barrier around Lin Tianhao and Li Zhu. They realize the guardian beast's death is causing the entire magical foundation to unravel. Lin Tianhao notices something is wrong as the mysterious woman ignores them to focus on the creature. She charges forward with a singular objective, moving like a blur through the crumbling ruins. Realizing she intends to destroy the unicorn, Lin Tianhao screams for the slime to intervene. The pet surges ahead in response to his desperate command. Its form turning aggressive, blood-red tendrils lash out to intercept the attacker, attempting to halt her killing blow. She ignores the pet's warning strikes, driving her weapon deeper toward the fallen creature's heart. The slime manages to wrap its mass around the beast, forming a thick defensive layer. It successfully blocks her blade from reaching the unicorn, but the pressure is immense. Her furious strike connects with the pet's core, forcing a pained response from the creature. The slime's body is sliced wide open by her relentless assault. Stalling her momentum, she manages to wound the unicorn despite the interference, leaving the beast bleeding out on the floor. The massive mountain tremors finally cease. Leaving the group in an eerie, sudden silence, Lin Tianhao decides they should investigate the area, moving closer to the fallen guardian. The white-haired woman turns to him, clearly confused by the strange turn of events. Li Zhu points out that the unicorn's blood is actively regenerating the surrounding terrain. Glowing patches of life sprout instantly where the creature's blood drips onto the floor, demanding they finish the beast off before it recovers. The woman tries to force her way forward. Lin Tianhao blocks her path, insisting she wait because something is fundamentally wrong here. Sensing a strange aura, Li Zhu stares intensely at the unicorn, sharing his sudden suspicion. He questions what the creature is trying to communicate through its bizarre pained behavior. A sudden, sharp cry erupts from the unicorn as it begins to convulse violently. The intensity of the sound forces Li Zhu to stumble back, caught off guard by the noise. The woman refuses to listen any longer, drawing her weapon for a final, decisive strike. Lin Tianhao shouts for her to stop one last time, desperate to prevent a mistake. She snaps back at him in frustration, unwilling to let the threat survive another moment. The creature collapses completely, its body arching as something shifts deep within its gut. Lin Tianhao notices a faint movement inside the beast's stomach, drawing their collective attention. Shock registers on the woman's face as she realizes her target was not what it seemed. A smaller, glowing figure tears its way out of the carcass in a blinding flash. The group watches in disbelief as a second, younger unicorn emerges into the light. Realizing the guardian was actually protecting its own offspring, the woman hesitates with her power. Lin Tianhao lunges forward, boots skidding across the frozen ground in a desperate sprint. The white-haired attacker is already committed to her strike, leaving him no choice but to physically intervene. Determination burns in his eyes as he reaches out to intercept the lethal blow. Energy ripples through the air between them as his hand connects with her blade. Blood drips from the wound on his palm, staining the frigid atmosphere. The infant unicorn bleeds from a fresh cut on its horn. Caught in the crossfire, light surges from the creature's wound, reacting to the sudden influx of his life force. He tackles the attacker aside, shielding the newborn from her next swing. A system message flashes, confirming that a soul contract has been forcibly sealed. Li Zhu stares in bewilderment as the white-haired woman registers the sudden change. Golden runes erupt from the ground beneath them, binding the creature to its new master. Mana pours directly from his forehead. Forging the link with intense pressure, the connection solidifies with a blinding flash, anchoring his spirit to the beast. A status window manifests for the new unicorn, showcasing its stats and newly unlocked abilities. The newborn collapses into the glowing circle, exhausted by the sudden soul-binding process. He realizes his gamble actually paid off. Feeling the weight of the new summon, his theory about the mother protecting the baby was correct, though the contract was an unexpected bonus. The juvenile beast stands steady now, ready to obey his mental commands. The white-haired woman and Li Zhu watch in silence, trying to process the impossible taming. The ground trembles as the newborn begins to channel its power, marking the start of a new partnership. The dungeon floor fractures under their feet, signaling a total structural collapse. Li Zhu shouts for the white-haired woman to move, urging her to escape the tremors. Lin Tianhao kneels beside the new unicorn, checking on his new companion one last time. A sudden system prompt pulses in the air, notifying him of a dungeon record break. The loot notification lists rare unicorn materials and a treasure chest, but he has no time to celebrate. Official rankings update in real time. Displaying his name at the very top of the leaderboard, Li Zhu and the white-haired woman scramble away, yelling for Lin Tianhao to abandon his post and follow. Massive debris blocks the path behind him, forcing Lin Tianhao to leap toward the exit portal. The girls watch in horror as he barely clears the falling rocks. He lunges through the unstable terrain, fingers reaching for the shimmering light. A final prompt asks if he wants to leave the dungeon, tapping the glowing screen. He initiates the emergency exit command. The portal swallows him whole just as the ceiling caves in. His teammates stare at the empty spot where the portal once shimmered. Li Zhu and the white-haired woman materialize outside. Gasping for air in the sudden silence, Su Qing, clearly disoriented, stammers that she thought they were all going to die. Lin Tianhao lands on the solid ground nearby, checking that everyone made it out. The white-haired woman grabs his collar. Struggling to keep her composure as she demands answers, crowd members outside gawk at the giant screen, realizing a new team just shattered the long-standing record. Onlookers buzz with questions about who pulled off the impossible feat, while Lin Tianhao tries to play it cool. The local guild members watching the dungeon exit are convinced Lin Tianhao and his group got forced out. Kinger loses her cool at the accusations, shouting back at the crowd while her teammates struggle to keep her contained. Lin Tianhao steps away from the portal, ignoring the surrounding noise to focus on the reality of their narrow escape. A group of rival elites spots the team, sneering as they recognize the newcomers. Their leader mocks Lin Tianhao for emerging from the dungeon. Already assuming the worst about his performance, he openly taunts Lin Tianhao, claiming he was lucky to survive the collapse and accusing him of retreating by force. Another guy in the rival group notices Li Zhu, belittling her for hanging around someone he considers a total loser. Li Zhu snaps back at the disrespect, telling the trash-talking rival exactly where he can go. The rival ignores her, turning his venomous gaze toward Yunfei and demanding he quit acting so shameless. Yunfei ignores the provocations, stepping aside as the rival leader tries to assert his dominance over the school's belle. Lin Tianhao stands his ground while the rival leader demands he acknowledge the massive gap in their skill levels. An amused grin spreads across Lin Tianhao's face as he asks what exactly that gap is supposed to be. The rival leader erupts in fury at the blatant disrespect, shouting at Lin Tianhao for his condescending tone. Suddenly, the massive public rankings board nearby flickers with an incoming data update. The system displays the new leader, officially confirming Lin Tianhao has claimed the #1 spot. The rival leader turns pale as the reality of the leaderboard update hits him. Everyone in the crowd stares at the screen in disbelief, realizing Lin Tianhao actually leapfrogged the longtime champion. The news spreads instantly through the area, with people shouting that Fang Changyun has finally been pushed off his throne. Bitter rivals scream that the result must be a cheat. Refusing to accept that Lin Tianhao outplayed them, the Murong siblings arrive on the scene, drawing the crowd's attention away from the drama as they show off their intimidating gear. Lin Tianhao watches the arrivals, noting the Murong family crest and wondering why elite powerhouses are here. Murong Yu and Murong Zhu step into the light, both possessing high-tier talents that make them local legends. Elite families usually enter through private gates, but these two are standing right in front of the common portal. Ordinary citizens and teams watch in confusion, as the high-ranking siblings ignore the usual protocols for their class, walking straight past the crowd. The siblings approach the area where Lin Tianhao stands with his own group. Wang Dong steps forward to greet the pair, clearly expecting the siblings to acknowledge his status as a holy warrior. The siblings do not even spare him a glance, their focus entirely locked onto the area ahead. Furious at being ignored, Wang Dong's companions start shouting insults at them for showing such blatant disrespect. The female sibling finally turns her cold gaze toward the loudmouth. Unimpressed by his aggressive outburst, her silent glare shuts the man down instantly, effectively silencing his tantrum before it can escalate any further. Wang Dong tries to recover his pride by mocking Lin Tianhao, claiming the new rank 1 player must have cheated. Unable to provoke a reaction, the arrogant group decides to retreat, threatening Lin Tianhao with future retribution. Lin Tianhao just sighs in relief as the annoying rivals finally clear out and leave him in peace. Murong Yu turns his attention toward Lin Tianhao, finally acknowledging the guy who just broke the dungeon record, extending a hand in greeting. The powerhouse introduces himself and offers a formal chance to talk. Wang Dong, watching from the sidelines, screams that Lin Tianhao is a fool for not immediately grabbing the hand. Yu ignores the shouting, calling his sister by name to keep her focused on the interaction. Lin Tianhao awkwardly acknowledges the greeting. Caught off guard by the sudden attention from such a high-tier player, before anything else can happen, the sister reaches out and grabs Lin Tianhao's hand with surprising speed. Wang Dong completely loses his mind at the sight, screaming in pure jealousy as the elites choose to side with Lin Tianhao. Wang Dong desperately tries to shove his way between the elites and Lin Tianhao, but the Murong siblings are not having it and immediately order their own party to move out. Yu makes it clear he has no intention of wasting time while others stall. Bystanders start gossiping about why elite powerhouses would ever want to recruit a low-level summoner like Lin Tianhao. Zhu snaps at the crowd to back off. Realizing that losing her record is a real possibility if she does not secure him now, she commands the others to move aside so they can take Lin Tianhao away from the scene. Onlookers whisper that fighting the Murong family is a losing battle that nobody in their right mind should pick. Zhu looks worried, wondering if Lin Tianhao is actually going to ditch their current setup to join the elites. Zhu refuses to believe the guy would ever turn down such a prestigious offer. She stares him down, daring him to think for himself rather than following his current companions. Yu steps up to formally invite Lin Tianhao to join the Golden Divine Lion Squad. A glowing system window pops up right in front of Lin Tianhao with the official invitation. Zhu confidently predicts that the guy will never say no to an opportunity this big. Lin Tianhao looks at the prompt and surprises everyone by giving a quick, calm response. Shock registers on the faces of his companions as they realize he actually agreed to the deal. A smug look crosses Lin Tianhao's face, clearly amused by the chaos his simple answer just caused. Zhu is visibly rattled by how easily he accepted, failing to grasp why he folded so fast. Zhu can only watch in stunned silence as the dynamic of their entire group shifts. Yu chuckles at the result, praising the guy for making such a supposedly smart decision. He closes the interaction, satisfied that he just successfully poached the most valuable player on the field. Lin Tianhao hovers his finger over the system prompt, but he has not pressed accept yet. Zhu and the rest of the group desperately yell for him to stop. Yu ignores them, painting a picture of record-breaking success if they just team up. Lin Tianhao taps the screen to decline, and the smug confidence on the Murong siblings instantly shatters. Zhu demands an explanation for the rejection, her composure slipping as the situation turns. Lin Tianhao tells them not to be so impatient, adding that he has a few specific conditions. Zhu scoffs at the audacity of a summoner trying to make demands, telling him to know his place. Lin Tianhao immediately threatens to walk away, making it clear he will not be pushed around. Yu quickly pivots, asking what those conditions are before they lose him for good. The grin on Lin Tianhao's face widens as he prepares to drop his list of requirements. He lays them out clearly, demanding full command in the dungeon, exclusive experience, and all monster drops. The absurdity of these terms leaves the Murong family members sputtering in pure disbelief. His own teammates watch in awe, realizing he's forcing the elite family to become his subordinates. Lin Tianhao stands his ground with his arms crossed, waiting for them to accept his terms. The Murong subordinates beg Yu to refuse, feeling insulted by these blatant power moves. Zhu stares at Lin Tianhao with a mix of frustration and begrudging respect for his nerve. She challenges him to back up his talk by actually getting on the leaderboard himself. Her family members are furious that he's publicly mocking them like this after breaking the war record. One of the subordinates loses his cool and threatens to teach the brat a lesson. Yu steps in to end the confrontation, ordering them to back down so they can keep their focus. Yu calls out Lin Tianhao for stringing them along if he never planned to join their team. The guy coolly retorts that he was just messing with them for trying to snatch other players. A subordinate lunges forward in a rage, but Yu holds his ground. The elite leader warns Lin Tianhao that topping the leaderboard does not make him invincible, dismissing his threats. Yu signals his team to abandon the area immediately. The subordinates shout insults as they walk away. Finally cutting ties with the troublemaker, Yu stares back with a promise that he will not forget this slight. Left alone, Lin Tianhao casually stretches while musing about hitting level 10 in the Black Abyss. A sudden chill crawls down his spine as he senses an eerie shift in the air. His own teammates realize he tricked everyone, and they turn their fiery wrath directly on him. He tries to stammer out a defense, but they are not having any of his excuses. The sound of a scream echoes across the plains as he gets absolutely leveled by his companions. They leave him face down in the dirt to go restock supplies, promising to meet back later. A system notification flashes in his vision showing the dungeon cooldown. Nursing his bruises, the guy decides to find a quiet spot to recover until the timer runs out. He moves toward the woods, reflecting on how the unicorn fight pushed him to level 6. Checking his status screen, he realizes he has not even tested his new summoner abilities yet. He notes his current beast capacity and prepares to see what he really caught. Calling out to the void with a surge of energy, he commands the beast to manifest. The ground trembles as the unicorn tears through the rift to answer his summon. Lin Tianhao watches his own palm glow as the summons starts, but the mist clears to reveal absolutely nothing on the forest floor. Confusion hits hard since the beast he just summoned is nowhere to be found. A system error pops up stating the summon failed and demanding a status check. He taps a hidden notification that reveals the creature is still in an egg. Horror sets in when the timer counts down from 72 hours. 3 full days of waiting feels like an eternity for the guy. Frustration takes over as he decides he cannot afford to just stand around, shifting his focus to the loot. He pulls up the dungeon completion chest. Anticipation builds while he wonders what kind of gear is waiting inside. A notification pings for a new piece of mail hitting his inventory. The system confirms he earned a record gift pack for his speed run. Confusion mixes with excitement as he reads the title. The fastest man, tossing aside the mystery of his new title, he prioritizes. Opening the Abyss chest becomes his main objective to boost his stats. He taps the screen to trigger the item reveal. With a smirk, loot crates materialize in front of him, ready to be cracked open. The first box grants him Guardian armor and a couple of experience potions. Satisfaction lights up his face as he reaches for the second chest. The lid clicks open, but whatever he sees inside catches him completely off guard. The ice necklace he pulled is a silver-grade item, providing a massive boost to his magic and spirit stats. Lin Tianhao can hardly believe his luck with such a high-tier drop. He immediately equips the jewelry to see the aura flare up. Power surges through his frame as the gear takes effect. Checking his updated character sheet reveals a significant jump in overall strength. 2 skill points are still burning a hole in his pocket. He decides to dump both into the fully armed skill. The system confirms the upgrade to level 3. His passive defense buff now lasts longer and protects his summons better. Turning his attention to his demon slime, he prepares for a training session. The slime's current stats reveal its potential for growth. A prompt appears asking for 100 units of sacrificial blood. Realization hits him when the system mentions an advancement requirement. The interface demands a specific blood sacrifice to proceed to the next level. Curiosity takes over as he wonders what new abilities might unlock. No details are provided about the potential outcome of this evolution. He decides to take the gamble and test the system for himself. Tapping the yes button confirms the initiation of the blood ritual. Energy floods into the slime as the advancement process begins immediately. The system message confirms the sacrifice worked, but Lin Tianhao's maximum health drops drastically to 500. A sudden crimson surge erupts from the ritual site, swirling into an intense vortex of raw energy. He watches as the blinding light forces him to shield his eyes. Something humanoid and entirely made of shifting red slime takes shape within the center. Shock registers on his face as he realizes the magnitude of the transformation. Meanwhile, at the Black Abyss Plaza, his team members wonder why he missed the scheduled meeting. Li Zhu suggests checking the team panel to track his current status. Opening the interface, she scans the map for his location. The screen reveals his icon deep within the forest, far from the plaza. She decides to track him down immediately and heads out with her companion. The pair rushes into the woods following the system's signal. Back at the ritual site, the swirling energy finally dissipates. Lin Tianhao stares in disbelief at the creature standing before him. The demon slime has evolved into a humanoid form with horns and glowing eyes. She hops toward him with an innocent chirping sound. Flustered by her lack of clothing, he desperately tries to look away. She tilts her head, completely unaware of his embarrassment. He scolds her to stay back, but she continues to approach with a cheerful chirp. The creature lunges toward him again, leaving him scrambling to react. The evolved creature tackles Lin Tianhao head-on, effectively pinning him to the forest floor. She stares up at him with wide, unblinking eyes, completely oblivious to his personal space. Lin Tianhao flushes a deep red, struggling to maintain his composure while pinned beneath her. She tilts her head in genuine confusion, wondering why he is acting so strangely. He grips her shoulders to pull her away, desperate to regain some distance. Reminding himself that she is just a summoned creature, he firmly pushes her back, reaching into his inventory. He pulls out a piece of cloth to cover her. He tosses the fabric over the evolved creature, insisting she wear something immediately. She catches the garment with a curious look, handling the material with her tentacles. The cloth begins to dissolve instantly upon contact with her acidic body. Despite the acid, the garment somehow stays draped over her humanoid form. Lin Tianhao sighs. Explaining that the cloth is for her to wear, he guides her arm through the sleeve, feeling like he has suddenly become apparent. A system notification pops up confirming her defense has increased by 0.1. He realizes that since she is humanoid, she can actually equip professional gear. Opening the interface, he pulls up the evolved creature's updated stats to investigate. The system displays 2 new skills, Corrosive Acid Rain and Demon's Embrace, noting the power boost. He decides he needs to test these skills out later. Meanwhile, Li Zhu and her companion finally track his signal deep within the woods. She stares at the map, confirming their target is just ahead in the trees. Li Zhu and her partner push deeper into the forest, tracking the signal, finally catching sight of Lin Tianhao through the dense tree line, where they find him sitting on the ground with the demon slime. The partner complains about being completely exhausted from the long trek, only to freeze when she gets a good look at the scene ahead. Li Zhu shouts out a demand for an explanation of his current behavior. Lin Tianhao turns around, defensive and clearly annoyed at being interrupted. She snaps back with a sarcastic retort about his supposed good deeds. The sight of the demon slime in her new clothes hits him hard. Li Zhu calls him a pervert, and the accusation echoes through the woods. A flock of birds scatters into the sky from the sudden commotion. He yells back that she never explained the creature was an advanced slime, demanding to know if she even gave him a chance to understand, before asking why they tracked him down here in the first place. She explains that the scheduled time for the Black Abyss entry is imminent. The system timer hits 0, catching him completely off guard despite the chaos. Li Zhu insists they head straight into the dungeon. A blinding portal opens, swallowing them up as they step inside. They arrive in a dark, desolate space littered with the remains of monsters, where a group of hunters stands, frustrated that their target is nowhere to be found. Yu stares at the remains of the beast, realizing someone else finished the job. His disappointment is clear as he surveys the field covered in purple monster blood. The entire area is picked clean, leaving nothing but carnage for the golden lions to find. One of his subordinates panics, asking for orders in the face of this total failure, suggesting they simply buy the spoils back from whoever claimed the kill. But another teammate snaps at him for the idiocy of treating a secret mission like a marketplace. A third member checks his records, wondering if a rival guild beat them to the punch. Zhu cuts the bickering short with a sharp command to silence everyone. She dismisses the idea of a guild, betting it was just a group of random rogues, pointing out that no major organization could have known about the unicorn's awakening, meaning whoever took it down must have stumbled into the abyss by sheer luck. Yu agrees, noting the dungeon is already destabilizing thanks to the boss's premature death. He wonders who on Earth could possibly possess the power to solo a mythical creature. Zhu pushes to hunt down whoever is responsible and reclaim the loot by force. She specifically targets that annoying punk they encountered earlier as their primary suspect. However, Yu stops her, insisting the Golden Lions do not slaughter innocent players. He also reminds her that anyone strong enough to kill the boss is definitely not a pushover. The thought crosses his mind that Lin Tianhao might be the one who broke the record. Despite the lingering suspicion, he decides it is time to cut their losses, ordering the team to retreat immediately and report this anomaly back to headquarters. The group uses a portal to exit the dungeon, leaving the mystery of the boss behind, but the exit leaves them shivering in the biting cold of the frozen wastes, and the system interface glitches, signaling that this zone is far from stable. Lin Tianhao struggles to keep his hands warm as the extreme temperature starts affecting him, while Li Zhu and her companion urge everyone to move quickly before they succumb to the frost. Yu sighs at the princess's constant complaints. Clearly exhausted by the journey, the group ventures deeper into the dark, desolate forest, searching for their next objective, stopping when they reach the spawn point for the corrupted direwolves, where the shadows in the brush begin to shift, signaling the beasts are closing in. Li Zhu shifts into her beastkin form, activating her claws to prepare for the incoming fight. 5 corrupted direwolves burst from the darkness, lunging straight at the party. The sudden appearance of the pack catches everyone completely off guard. Li Zhu's companion shrieks in alarm at the sight of 5 wolves instead of the expected one. Lin Tianhao realizes the spawn rate has quintupled, throwing their entire battle plan into chaos. Undeterred by the numbers, Li Zhu charges headlong into the pack, shouting that she will crush them. Her eyes lock onto the wolves as she prepares to unleash her full combat potential. The companion shakes off her fear, calling out that she is ready to provide support. Energy pulses around the companion as she begins chanting a high-level buff. The direwolves snap at Li Zhu, but she strikes with perfect timing. Her claws tear through the pack, landing critical hits that drain the beast's health bars instantly. Li Zhu is not even breaking a sweat, calling the direwolves an easy warm-up, and the battlefield erupts as she obliterates the remaining threats with a single strike. She vows to take them down one by one, fueled by her combat class upgrades, but Lin Tianhao lingers on the anomaly of the spawn, questioning if it is pure coincidence. Li Zhu shouts for him to quit overthinking and hurry up to catch her pace. Yu insists that reaching the next spawn point will finally clear up the truth. The desolate, snow-covered landscape stretches out before them, hiding secrets in the frost. Lin Tianhao senses a shift in the air, realizing something is fundamentally wrong here. Li Zhu demands the female support keep the buffs coming so she can clear the area. A sudden, massive tremor cuts through the silence, forcing Lin Tianhao to call out in alarm. The ground shakes violently beneath them, and the female support screams as the world turns chaotic. Lin Tianhao yells for everyone to stay calm as the earth begins to buckle. A surge of power erupts from the snow, sending a shockwave across the frozen plains. A colossal hidden threat tears through the surface, revealing that the ground itself was a trap. Lin Tianhao realizes the direwolves were not just spawning, they were using a coordinated hunting formation. The snow clears to reveal an entire army of beasts lying in wait, surrounding them. The female support panics at the sheer number of enemies. Desperate for a new plan, Lin Tianhao notices the wolves attacking with advanced intelligence, proving they have evolved beyond simple monsters. The massive lead beast lunges with terrifying speed, closing the distance in a heartbeat. Li Zhu and the female support scramble to dodge the impact, barely escaping the brutal assault. Lin Tianhao stands his ground as the air pressure shifts, sensing a massive surge of killing intent from the shadows. A towering dark entity manifests right in front of him. The creature lunges with lethal force, forcing Lin Tianhao to react. Li Zhu and the support companion huddle together in sheer terror. Massive fangs snap just inches away, threatening to end them. Lin Tianhao lets out a cold, confident smirk instead of retreating. Summoning his trump card, he clears the path through the wolves. A demon slime erupts into battle, shifting the tide instantly. A colossal rift tears open the horizon behind them. Soldiers at the entrance scramble as the reality around them collapses. Someone screams that the ground is shaking itself to pieces. Panic spreads as the instability reaches a critical breaking point. Movement at the entrance signals an even greater catastrophe unfolding. An explosive force decimates the front line of the defense. Witnesses watch in horror as their comrades are torn apart. Pure confusion turns to mortal dread for the surviving guards. The abyssal eruption breaks through, spilling blood and ruin everywhere. One survivor collapses, his life slipping away in the chaos. The guards realize the scale of the disaster is truly unstoppable. A system notification confirms the professionals are being transported to the Hall of the Fallen, and a wave of skeletons floods the zone as if death itself is pouring in. The portal swells into a swirling void of dark energy. While countless skulls are violently ejected from the rift, Lin Tianhao and the remaining guards scramble to fend off the skeletal tide. A new system projection manifests before them, declaring the dungeon difficulty has spiked to nightmare mode. So the desperate guard radios the mayor about the full-scale abyssal eruption. Lin Tianhao stands his ground as the surrounding wolves circle him. He commands the demon slime to manifest, and the creature emerges with a massive, snapping jaw to intercept the pack. Lin Tianhao watches coldly as the tide of battle shifts. The demon slime lunges into the fray with brutal efficiency, crushing the wolves under its immense, shadowy weight. Its glowing eyes lock onto the next target with lethal intent. Damage numbers erupt across the battlefield as the wolves are decimated, while the demon slime effortlessly clears the path. Lin Tianhao strolls through the carnage with his companion perched on his shoulder. Li Zhu and her companion watch in total disbelief at his overwhelming display of power, so Lin Tianhao orders them to fall back as he takes full control of the situation. Li Zhu and the support companion retreat to safety, wondering aloud if Lin Tianhao can actually solo these empowered monsters. While the record-breaking MC faces down the massive threats alone in the clearing, Lin Tianhao taunts the beast with a grin while the demon slime clings to his back. The enemy giants and wolves coordinate their assault, and a wolf lets out a piercing howl to signal the attack. Sudden kinetic impacts send the monsters reeling backward. The demon slime launches itself into the thick of the fray. Lin Tianhao commands the creature to hold the line against the encroaching horde. Long crimson tendrils whip out to strike the charging wolf. Those glowing eyes burn with dark energy, and the wolf lunges into a desperate counterattack. Li Zhu and the support companion watch in horror as Lin Tianhao finds himself flanked. The record-breaking MC senses the closing pincer movement and barks a defensive order. His demon slime expands rapidly to intercept the incoming claws. Red mass envelops the Wolf King in a suffocating, acidic embrace. Li Zhu and the support companion cry out as the battle reaches a fever pitch. Massive critical damage ticks off the Wolf King's health bar. The support companion points out the monster's plummeting HP, and the Wolf King's final roar is silenced by the relentless, corrosive grip. The Wolf King's hide finally tears under the pressure of the demon slime. Li Zhu and the support companion stare in disbelief at the raw display of power. The beast lets out a final, pained howl as its life force drains away. Lin Tianhao watches the health drop off and smirks. Noting the fight is getting interesting, panic sets in for the support companion as they realize the front line is buckling. Shouts for continued healing echo through the air while more giants rush the position. The slime absorbs the impact of a massive blow, shielding the record-breaking MC. Li Zhu urges the support companion to stay focused as the mob swarms inward. Critical damage numbers stack against the Wolf King as the slime maintains its grip. Lin Tianhao tracks the increasing damage with cold, calculated precision. The giants adjust their formation, revealing a terrifying level of group intelligence. Warning cries from the support companion alert Li Zhu to the immediate danger. Li Zhu grabs the support companion and pulls them back to create distance. Fear for the record-breaking MC's safety consumes the support companion's thoughts. Li Zhu promises to find a solution while assessing their dwindling options. The two women retreat to a safer vantage point to regroup their strategy. A rare, high-stakes potion is pulled from Li Zhu's inventory as a last resort. The Vitality Potion's description confirms the brutal downside of doubled damage after use. Li Zhu tosses back the tonic. Deciding the risk is worth the potential gain, Lin Tianhao commands the slime to hold, ready to unleash the next phase of his plan. A massive shockwave erupts as the Wolf King is sent flying. The beast crashes into the environment with bone-crunching force. Li Zhu and the support companion watch in absolute disbelief. The record-breaking MC stands firm as his red entity pins the creature down. Lin Tianhao activates his demonic embrace to finish the job. Damage markers spike as the red entity tears through the Wolf King. The creature's jaw shatters under the pressure of the sustained assault. System notifications confirm the Wolf King has finally been defeated. Li Zhu and the support companion cheer at the sudden victory. Nearby corrupted monsters tremble as they witness the Wolf King fall. A giant wielding a heavy hammer steps out to challenge the victor. The towering enemy grips its weapon with lethal intent. Heavy strikes from the hammer crater the ground around Lin Tianhao. The giant prepares to unleash a devastating new combat maneuver. Another giant joins the fray to coordinate their crushing attack. They combine their power to trigger a corrupt hammer storm. A localized vortex of energy begins to swirl around the pair. The support companion screams a warning to Lin Tianhao. Razor-sharp winds from the spinning hammer storm close in on him. The red entity rushes to shield Lin Tianhao from the incoming cyclone. Purple energy shreds through the red entity's defensive shell, and Lin Tianhao realizes the enemy has adapted to slime tactics. The red entity tries to hold the barrier together against the pressure. But the strain causes its form to tear under the relentless wind. A direct hit chips away at their health as the vortex accelerates, leaving Lin Tianhao trapped and vulnerable within the center of the storm. The support companion watches in horror as their defense begins to buckle. Li Zhu refuses to let the record-breaking MC fall to these giants, so she downs a high-grade potion to force a desperate power surge. Dust kicks up as the ground beneath her feet fractures under the strain. Golden flames erupt around her body as she taps into her latent heritage. The support companion stares in disbelief as her features start to shift. Su Qinger recognizes the transformation as the legendary ancestral awakening, and Li Zhu fully embraces the bear spirit form to break her limits. She dives headlong into the spinning vortex to intercept the giants. The support companion shouts in awe as the massive white beast emerges. A surge of primal energy flows through the battlefield as she strikes, and Li Zhu slams into the heart of the hammer storm, her true form now fully manifested with glowing eyes of pure power, and she smashes the giant's momentum to clear a path for Lin Tianhao. Li Zhu charges into the fray with a desperate need to back up her ally, surging forward as a massive spectral white bear cloaked in crackling blue energy. Lin Tianhao panics as a new wave of monsters closes the distance. Ordering the red entity to retreat, he watches in shock while the swirling chaos threatens to swallow them both. Violent winds whip across the field, pulling Lin Tianhao deeper into the vortex. The red entity struggles against the suction. But they are clearly losing their grip on reality. Lin Tianhao braces for the end as he is launched directly into the path of Li Zhu's charge. Sweat pours down his face while he calculates the inevitable impact. Realization hits that the momentum has shifted in a way he did not expect. He lands safely, surprised to find he is completely unharmed amidst the storm. A voice cuts through the chaos, and Lin Tianhao looks up to see his savior. Li Zhu holds off the giants with her immense weight. Demanding that he stop hesitating and strike, Lin Tianhao commands the red entity to unleash its full embrace. Tendrils of red energy erupt outward, weaving together into a deadly, focused offensive. Li Zhu watches in awe as she realizes the true extent of the power Lin Tianhao commands. The red entity forces the giants back, creating a massive opening for a counterattack. A giant prepares to spin into a high-speed lethal assault. Li Zhu bellows at Lin Tianhao, urging him to trigger the fusion skill for the kill. The red entity scoffs at the giant's predictable tactics, refusing to be outdone twice. And Lin Tianhao gathers his strength, ready to finalize the fight with a crushing blow. The red entity tears through the giant with relentless efficiency. Lin Tianhao clenches his fist as the final strike lands true. Debris rains down from the decimated enemy, signaling the end of the onslaught. The giant white bear roars in relief, celebrating their narrow victory against the horde. Sweat beads on the beast's brow as the adrenaline starts to fade away. Su Qinger, still in her bear form, drops back down to the ground near Lin Tianhao. He acknowledges her timely arrival, admitting he was nearly finished without her help. Curiosity gets the better of Lin Tianhao as he reaches out, wondering how she accessed such a powerful transformation. A sudden system notification reveals a double penalty, draining nearly all of Su Qinger's health pool. She collapses under the weight of the massive system debuff, crying out in pain. Panic flares in Lin Tianhao's eyes as he realizes the situation has turned dire. The bear form vanishes instantly, leaving the girl vulnerable on the frozen ground. He rushes to her side and catches the exhausted Su Qinger in his arms. Her health bar hits a critical 10 points, meaning any minor blow could end her. Reaching for his inventory, Lin Tianhao pulls out a potent recovery potion. He gently feeds the potion to Su Qinger, hoping to stabilize her condition before it is too late. The girl shudders as the magical liquid restores her strength, causing her bare features to recede. Lin Tianhao exhales a long breath of relief. Thankful she survived the sudden system backlash, his hand brushes against her unexpectedly soft skin and he freezes in place. A bright crimson blush covers his face as the realization of their close proximity hits him full force. Su Qinger snaps back to reality and demands an explanation, but seeing Lin Tianhao's bright red face and nosebleed makes him lose his composure. She shrieks and shoves him away, accusing the guy of being a complete pervert. He tries to defend his innocence, yet takes a sharp slap to the face for his trouble. The force sends Lin Tianhao sprawling backward onto the cold ground. Su Qinger shifts back into her beastkin form, radiating a threatening aura of pure intimidation. She towers over the fallen guy, insisting the entire situation is his own fault. Threatening him with death if he ever mentions what he saw, she hides her growing embarrassment. Lin Tianhao scrambles to apologize, promising he saw absolutely nothing at all. The girl finally relents and signals for him to get moving again, though she warns him one last time to keep his mouth shut or face the consequences. He nods nervously, realizing just how serious she is about this humiliation. She grabs his hand and hauls him up, directing him toward their next destination. The two of them head out together, putting the awkward encounter behind them for now. They stumble upon Li Zhu, who is currently napping in a nearby clearing. Lin Tianhao can't help but think how remarkably carefree she manages to be. Su Qinger shakes the sleeping girl awake, urging her to get back to the mission. Li Zhu stirs from her slumber, squinting through her glasses at the two of them. She lets out a panicked cry, fearing they might be monsters coming to eat her. The others reassure the confused girl that the threats are dead and the area is finally safe. Li Zhu still cannot believe they actually survived the ordeal. Lin Tianhao confirms they're safe, moving to shift their focus toward their next objective. Su Qinger suddenly grabs Lin Tianhao and Li Zhu in a tight embrace, relieved that the trio is still in one piece. She quickly pulls everyone together to discuss their immediate survival strategy. Lin Tianhao points out that the Black Abyss has gotten noticeably harder since they first entered. Su Qinger confirms his suspicion. Noting the monsters are far more dangerous than anything they faced before, Li Zhu asks for their plan since staying put clearly is not an option anymore. Lin Tianhao suggests they retreat immediately, arguing that the risks are simply too high for them to handle. Su Qinger and Li Zhu both agree that their lives are worth more than forcing this run. He pulls up the system interface to trigger their exit from the instance. The screen displays a harsh warning about a demotion penalty for leaving early. He hits confirm, but the system flatly rejects their attempt to escape. They realize the difficulty spike has locked them inside this nightmare-tier abyss. Lin Tianhao stares at the system notification in disbelief. Realizing the entire dungeon has fundamentally shifted, Li Zhu panics, asking if they are effectively trapped in this zone for good. Su Qinger maintains her composure, reminding the group that they still have a fighting chance if they stay focused. Lin Tianhao notes that despite the spike in difficulty, the recommended level for the area has not actually shifted. Li Zhu argues that if the trash mobs are this lethal, a boss battle will almost certainly be their end. He insists they keep grinding to level 10, though Li Zhu admits she has a terrible gut feeling about their odds. Su Qinger begins scouting ahead, leaving Li Zhu confused as to why they are not sticking together for safety. Lin Tianhao suggests they split up to avoid sharing experience points. Li Zhu agrees to the plan and promises to regroup once they both hit level 10. He immediately heads out to solo grind in the frozen wastes. The red entity shadows Lin Tianhao while massive beasts lurk in the background. The system finally confirms he reached the target milestone, and Lin Tianhao is completely drained.